Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Max, and I have been deep diving into Ethereum and PulseChain stuff today. And yeah, I wanted to do a show earlier this morning. I saw Richard's tweet the last night of this morning, and I made a dev-splaining tweet that seemed to be pretty popular, talking about the different dev stuff he was saying, the different packages. And yeah, I want to get closer with information myself and really just share what I've learned, what I've figured out, as I have an engineering type background. And although I wouldn't say I'm a crypto technology expert. I think a lot of my background translates into me being able to understand and synthesize some of the information from a lot of the stuff I already know. So yeah, I wanted to take this stream. Also, it's RHAMA. I'll start out with some RH stuff because it is AMA about Richard, but I think the PulseChain dev updates will be interesting and will be something that will be valuable if you want to learn more about how this stuff works, what it actually means, and if that helps you become more comfortable with some sort of timeline, then so be it. I just thought it was interesting enough to talk about and go through. So it'll be a technical stream for most of it. Say hi to the chat and we'll get started. Welcome, friends we can depend on. That is the friends I like right there. You are here. Hence your name, dependable. I like it. Military vet, crypto military vet. Welcome. Is this new information or replay of old info? This is based on Richard's last tweet of those packages and PulseChain updates, and a few new things that I picked out from the screenshot as well. A couple new things I would explain that weren't explained in his tweet. I'll say that. I think you'll learn if you want to learn about PulseChain stuff and the dev updates that were shared recently. Did I miss the show? X Evolved. No, you are right on time. Graphics. Wish I still make guitar demo. Dude, that would be cool. If you want to sample, or if you want to do a remix of the intro, I'm sure Proof of Beards Only would love that too. Hexkins, we are the bestkins, right? That is true. Well, first off, I want to, is this addressing the RH FUD? There's been so many comments and so many, I don't want to say I don't pay attention to comments, but I kind of let them slide, kind of like the haters tears type of thing, Richard talked about before in the remix of that Greek Protest song. They don't really, a lot of this don't make any sense. Or they're going on about some particular point that just doesn't really, it's very one-sided. You can tell they haven't thought about it much. They're kind of stuck, emotionally stuck. So let me pull up let me share the screen first, and then I'll talk about some RH stuff before we get into PulseChain. It's just maybe this will help someone if I talk about it. Maybe just people don't hear people talk about it enough. But anyways, here's a screenshot. That's what we'll be getting into shortly. RH did provide some updates two in the last 3 days, I want to say. So what's up, Bugs? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, Doug. Welcome. So first, I think it'd be good to go over Richard's overall plan, or what I think it to be. A lot of you have been following me. I've been following Richard for the last 5 or 6 years. I think it's going on 6 this year. And honestly, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, I think it's in 3 phases, if you will. Phase 1 is build a following, do hex, prove yourself. You're already rich, you're already smart, you want to be successful in crypto, you got to put a product out there that wins. We know that's hex. And it's probably better to go to the blog and I'll just share it because if everyone saw it before. But this is where I talk about it. Almost a year ago, I talked about this stuff. Welcome, Godfather J6. Good to see you, man. Yeah, if you want to go through this, I dropped the link in the chat. You can read more about it. But this was a year or so ago. So build a following. And then I think phase 2 is PulseChain, vertical integration. Create a whole bunch of millionaires who share the same values and mission that you do. And importantly though, most people won't get rich from PulseChain and PulseX. Just logically speaking, it's just not going to happen. Just like even if all the mad gains are out on the table, it's just not going to happen for everyone. And it's not going to happen for most people, I speculate. So, they'll more than like, why wouldn't they get rich? I thought that's what the plan was. Each individual has their own plan and accountability. So most people, unfortunately, will just trade it away. They won't wait long enough. They'll, sell low and buy high, that sort of thing. They won't lock it up. They'll, a lot of people just seem like they want to dump it. They just want to get it so they can dump it ASAP because they're bored and need trading stuff or need house money or something. I'm not devaluing the legitimate concerns of people who over-sacrificed, I guess you would say. But at the same time, that's self-accountability, right? So phase 2, I think PulseChain will literally catapult his mission, his ability to show that he is one of the greatest people in crypto, at least at that point. And then phase 3, once we have vertical integration, Hex is amazing, PulseChain's amazing, PulseX, maybe there's a wallet, maybe there's other products here and there, but I think these will be like Richard likes 3 6s 9s, right? So I feel like 3 blue chips is pretty good, but who knows? Could be 6, could be 9. Scivive and Heart Foundation. What I'm calling the Heart Foundation, I just referred to as Richard's foundation, probably of some sort, to fund longevity research. He wants to save people's lives. He wants to save their real lives. First, save your money, save your pocketbook, give you a product that's fair and allows you to achieve mad gains. And then focus on medical research, longevity, the ideals. And that's what I started following Richard for in the first place, his ideals. And then he came up with a product. I'm like, I like the founder's ideals. Maybe his product could be good too. Turned out pretty good. So crypto, again, it's all my opinion, is a means to an end for him. He's using crypto to get even richer. And so he can fund what he really wants to do, what he really wants to achieve greatness from, which is medical research, longevity, Heart Foundation, whatever it may be. Maybe he's working with Aubrey de Grey, really achieving worldwide success and glory. Again, that's the blog post I shared as well, glory. That's what he wants. So it's not about being a celebrity. It's not about Prada. All outreach marketing, even crypto stuff. I know you got to zoom out to kind of figure this stuff out, but even that stuff is a means to an end. He wants to be a force for good in the world. That's what his website says. And the best way he knows how to do that, from all I've seen and heard from him say, is to save people's real lives. So that's his mission. Now you know his mission. So is Richard timing the market? It's not even useful. It's not even useful to think about. It doesn't help you. It doesn't benefit you even think about it, because in the best case, you believe he's timing it to try to make Pulse 10,000x even harder. He's doing it all to set things up to be the maximum amount of mad gains in the best time period, blah, blah, blah. Best case. Or worst case, you think he's spending all your money. He's depriving you of all your trading. He's, because you're moored and he keeps lying to you and he keeps, all this stuff. Worst case, you think he's just holding back your money that you somehow had expectations from a sacrifice, which literally means giveaway with no expectations. So it doesn't benefit you to even think about if he's timing the market, because it doesn't matter. Because if you knew for sure, 100%, that he was timing the market or not, only reason you want to know that is so you can go and make some investment play or some strategy that, you're probably, again, unless you're a financial advisor and a professional person or been in crypto forever and learned all these lessons, has all the scars, and really 1% trader, probably not going to make any good moves anyways. Let's just face it. I wouldn't be able to either, probably. That's why I don't trade. I don't need to involve myself and spend consciousness doing that, because I know it's not healthy and I know I'm not going to be good at it anyways. So it's no benefit. And you think about if Richard's timing the market. All right. So why is PulseChain taking so long? Copy and paste, refund, liar, scam. Obviously not a copy and paste. Obviously not as simple as right-click copy and Control-V paste. If it were, this would have happened 4 weeks ago, right? Happened a long time ago. If you're here for the technology, stick with Ethereum. It is super innovative, probably like the coolest thing out there in crypto. Ethereum's awesome. Or pick your other favorite one outside of Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum's my pick though, outside of PulseChain, obviously. But if you're here for the mad gains, sorry, but Ethereum ran out about 7 years ago. It's kind of fresh out of those mad gains for Ethereum. PulseChain solves it. It's that simple. PulseChain solves the mad gains problem in crypto with the new L1 network that Ethereum just can't do anymore. It does technology great. It doesn't do mad gains great. Simple. So why is it taking so long? Doesn't matter. It's going to launch. It's going to launch. And then lastly, RH is lying about PulseChain. Look at all the 50 examples of lies about when launched the past 18 months. Again, who cares? Whose fault is it if you had expectations of PulseChain launching in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024? Hold yourself accountable. Not the guy who's creating a new breed of wealth and innovation. And, maybe he's cool and you're just impatient, right? Like maybe it's not him. I know it's so easy to just point the finger, blame somebody for stuff. Maybe it's not him. Maybe he's doing absolutely everything he can to get it done correctly and on time and mad gainsly. Maybe once he was wrong for the 5th time on the time estimates and he keeps saying that he's terrible at time estimates, you believe him and you stop looking for time estimates and trying to read into things and trying to figure out how to make financial plans based on something that's impossible for you to know. So if you want more than Prada Man Bad or Win Refund or Launch Now, no matter what, or PulseChain is dead or on and on and on, forget about the imaginary horribles. PulseChain will launch and you're going to forget all about this, just like the Hexagons did. You're going to forget all about the FUD. You're going to forget about all the horrible things you might have said. Forget all about the dim feels, all the bad feelings, just like everyone who was an early Hexagon did when it took 18 months to 2 years, 3 years ago. So again, read the blog entry for glory if you are interested in, what I've learned from following Richard for so long. It's something I wrote a while back and still holds pretty strong today. So that's what I'll say on that one. I'll say hi to the chat real quick. What's up? Let's go. Hex Fetty, nice to see you. We have a dip. Yeah. Dips are in the game. What's up, Paul? What's good, Max? Thank you for Scivive Book. Yeah, I'm about to get into that very, very shortly. Charles Stark, hi from Japan. Love Japan. Hello, Mr. Charles Stark. If you bought 500,000 hex today, would you stake it or hold and hope PLS launches soon to get those copies? That's a good question, actually. And buying 500,000 hex today, a lot of people would say that's a good idea versus buying it a few months ago and not trying to time the bottom and just looking at the price and thinking, do I think I'm going to get a better deal timing the market, or do I think that this is DC8 enough? Would you hold it or stake it? Yeah, I think that's the big question. That's something that a lot of people are trying to figure out because, if you don't have it staked. So right now, if you stake it, for example, may get a better deal on T-shares because the price is so low, and people speculate that when PulseChain launches, Hex price will go up, which means we'll get a good deal on Hex and everything that goes with that. So it's a trade-off. It's if you keep it liquid, then your your PX is going to be liquid, and you're going to be able to trade it, ratio trading on the bridge. You're going to be able to sell it afterwards. You're going to be able to restake it. Maybe you think that PulseChain is going to give you a better 5555 deal instead of the huge in-stake fees that we know about for smaller stakes. Although 500,000, there's an in-stake calculator you can use to evaluate all this stuff on Ethereum at least. So, but again, Dipcatcher makes a great point. We want PulseChain to be higher fees eventually because that means it's valuable. It means people is using it. There's demand. So higher fees means valuable network, at least in today's standards. Of course, there's a lot of nuance to that. You can say, oh, there's super fast, cheap fees on other networks too. But generally, using Ethereum as an example. and we're forking Ethereum. So I think it's a good example. No, it depends. So if you want to participate in ratio trading, if you want to have liquid to trade it, then you wouldn't want to stake today. But if you want to max out the T shares, participate in a system it's meant to maximally reward people. I did a video on, you can search RHMax, am I doing Hex wrong? I go through an hour of content of all kinds of different ways to stake Hex, what it's meant for, what I believe it's good for, what the ethos is, how to maximize your gains. And that would say that T-share preservation, T-share maximization is the way to go. So it depends. I think if you have a 500,000 Hex, though, if you have 1 million Hex, if you have 5 million, 10 million, if you have over 50,000 or 100,000 Hex today, then you have options. And I like options. Options are good. So you'll have to make that personal decision for yourself. I think that's hard to lose if you have Hex and you know how to use it. What's up, Pacific Northwest Sasquatch? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, ladder, of course. Yeah, maybe get a better deal buying smaller amounts. Maybe you just want to get in before you think price is going back up. A lot of different ways to do it. But a lot of people like ladders, so you could see that too. You could keep part of it liquid. We didn't really talk about that. Stake half, liquid half. A lot of different ways to do it. Good problem to have, again. So let's get into PulseChain dev stuff, because that is the main topic of the night. Of course, if you have RH questions, you can throw them in the chat and we will get to them. But I want to talk about this tweet from Richard, and I will drop it in the chat. So you can click on it if you wish. So this may look like a screenshot of PulseChain v3 testnet interface, and you'd be correct. And it may, what you maybe pay attention to the most is these words, which are, I'll go through and we'll figure out what they are, but there's a lot more in this than just even his words. So first of all, he describes these as the 4 PulseChain clients. Now, what does that mean? What is a PulseChain client? What is an Ethereum client? So we'll talk about that. Also, he says, here's a screenshot of the testnet Beacon Explorer. So we see there's different tabs: PulseX, PulseChain, PulseRamp, which is the bridge. It used to be Pulse Bridge. It goes back and forth between Pulse Bridge, PulseRamp, and Sacrifice Checker. And this is he calls it Beacon Explorer. So I did some research, and this is what I'm saying, more than what he said in the tweet I'll be going over. I think I found which one that is forked, which Beacon Explorer that they're using. And also, I can talk about a couple other things that are interesting about this. But first, let's go to the clients. That is the big thing. That's what I made the tweet on, about figuring out what it is. So first up, GoPulse. So I'll drop this link in the chat as well. Now, GoPulse. What is GoPulse? So it's the PulseChain fork of the Ethereum node. So there's Go Ethereum and there's GoPulse. So it's just a fork of the Ethereum node. Now, we switched from proof of work to POS. So now I'm not sure, if you go down to the repo, they have repo with the fork of Ethereum Go on the Binance Smart Contract. Maybe, they talk about proof of stake stuff, but this doesn't look as updated or official, at least. So there's stuff happening on these repos. But essentially, think of that as the node, the code, the participant in the network. And we'll talk about more like node versus validator as well. So GoPulse, very simply, is the node. People run a node to participate in the network. And let's see, if I have a there's a diagram. I want to try to use some diagrams. I don't have too many diagrams, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Yeah, so just going to go Ethereum. We can see, go link execution, implementation, which geth. So PulseChain clients, right? Sorry, let's get back to PulseChain clients. I went to the node software because it was first, but I want to talk about the clients. So the clients, we'll go back to this tweet. Go Pulse, Pi Prism, or Prism Pulse, Aragon Pulse, and Lighthouse Pulse. Okay, so what are these? So Geth is an Ethereum client, and there's two different kinds of Ethereum clients. There's the execution client, which you just needed in proof of work. That was fine. But now we have the consensus client. Two different kinds. The two most popular execution clients are Geth and Aragon. And the two most popular consensus clients is Prism and Lighthouse. And there's like 4 different ones of each one, but those are the two most popular and probably, or relatively speaking, or at least they're popular enough for us to be using them for Pulse. So Vitalik's like, okay, we're doing it at the ETH 2.0. Here's the spec, community, go write consensus clients for the new protocol. And that's where we'll go over here. I had something on there. But essentially, there was a bunch of people. Let's see. Where's the one? I want to go to the screen that shows the different ones you can use. See, validator clients. This lists Geth, Aragon. So Geth and Aragon as execution clients. Yeah, here you go, right here. And consensus clients, Lighthouse, Teku, Prism, Nimbus. So you have these different ones and these different ones. So Vitalik's like, okay, we need consensus clients. So go write some stuff. And the community was like, okay, or different companies. Okay, Lighthouse, Teku, Prism. All these are community-based projects or different companies that are coming up with these consensus clients for ETH 2.0. So if you just want to run a node, you can set up a server and only run execution client, such as Geth or Aragon. If you just want to be a node or a beacon node, I guess in ETH 2.0. But if you want to be a validator, you need to run a node that has both an execution and consensus client running, such as Prism or Lighthouse, and stake 32 ETH so you can earn rewards. So that's the difference in node and validator. One is just running execution client and you're just helping secure the network. And the validator, you're running both execution and consensus clients, and you're earning rewards, and you have the stake there as well. So when Richard says these are the four PulseChain clients, that's what he means. He means PulseChain has picked Aragon, and well, I guess when he says go Pulse, he's implicitly saying Geth, and that I would assume. And and with the consensus clients, we picked Lighthouse and Prism. So, and I'll look at the chat here in a minute and questions. I just want to get through a few things here. Let's see. So that's what those things mean. Hope that's clear. I don't really have a lot of great diagrams to show you all. I was literally trying to find some, but I only had a couple hours to figure all this stuff out to bring you something useful. But they not have. I mean, this one you can see Lighthouse being a consensus client. Now you could replace Lighthouse with Prism here. Should work pretty much the same way. You have other beacon chain nodes. Your chain node appears with them. Then you have validator. If you're doing validation, you have your stake there, earning rewards, keys. You got generate keys and everything associated with that. And you have the execution client, and that also appears with other execution clients. This is the Ethereum mainnet, and PulseChain should be pretty much the same as far as this stuff goes. So that is the 4 PulseChain clients. Hopefully that is clear what those mean. And now let's look at the other couple of things. So the bridge, for example, Pulse Ramp. Let me pull up something on it. See, some of this stuff, since PulseChain changed, well, it may not be updated or exactly the same. But essentially, the bridge is how you can bridge coins over from Ethereum to PulseChain. It may be a fiat on-ramp thing. Maybe that's a feature as well. We're not sure. But essentially, just a basic level, you have the bridge. You can take your coins on Ethereum. You can take your ETH. You can bridge over to PulseChain. Now, okay, it's taking a while. Let me just go back to here. Now, why would you want to do that? I need to get some better answers. I need to get some elaboration. Hopefully, I can have somebody on the show to literally go through, and I put a tweet out too, like, give me all the most profitable scenarios for bridging coins over. I want to understand more about this too. But basically, you can back up PRC20s, and especially in the liquidity pools, you can, if you want to bridge stuff over, you can increase liquidity, so it makes trading easier. Maybe you can earn fees and stuff. And then if you actually want to use some of the token protocols that would be available and running a PulseChain, you're going to have much cheaper fees, right? Because it's running a PulseChain now. Assuming, if we get like Decentraland running on there, that'd be awesome, because that's one of the big problems with Mana and Decentraland is the fees are so crazy on Ethereum. So if they supported PulseChain, that would be cool. So, and then the price. So again, backing up the PRC20s, if you bridge coins over, you can have more backing for the price. And again, it goes with liquidity. And again, some of the exact scenarios I want to do a stream on and figure and be able to elaborate and go into like, okay, here's exactly how you do this and that. But essentially, that's why you would bridge coins over. Very generic, basic version of that. So we have that. We have Pulse Ramp. So that's one of the things in the screenshot here, Pulse Ramp. And the last one that I want to talk about that he didn't elaborate on in the tweet, but you can see here is the Beacon Explorer. And I think I've found, let me see. So it looks like they're using beaconcha.in, which is Beacon Chain. I'll show you. If you look at the two, it looks basically exactly the same, other than the UI is completely different, obviously. So if you see here, you got slots, epoch, you got a space here, search box for public key and block hashes to look stuff up. And you have all the graphs and stuff here for the validators, and you have the most recent epochs, most recent blocks. If you look at the tweet, pretty much exactly the same, except there's a PulseChain UI on it. You have the epoch, you have the slots, you have the search here, you have the graph validators, you have the recent epochs, you have the recent blocks. All the same stats are there. So they are using, let's see, GitHub. They're using the GoBitFly ETH2 Beacon Chain Explorer. That appears to be what we're using on PulseChain as well. I'm not sure. I heard people talk about that. Maybe Richard's mentioned it, maybe he hasn't, but that is something that I noticed, and I did some, just clicking around like, oh, I wonder what they're using. So it looks like we're using this repo. We forked this repo, it seems like, in order to have the Beacon explore and be able to view stats about validators and blocks and all kinds of the staking stats and searching for basically a block explorer in a lot of ways. So that was cool. And then I'll mention one other thing too, and Richard has sort of mentioned Grafana, but I don't know, I mean, how useful it's going to be to talk about Grafana and PulseChain, but Grafana is something that validators may be using, nodes and validator operators may be using. It's just for metrics and logs and observability, essentially, very popular in the tech world. And this may be something that they're using, or a similar product, to try to figure out stats about the different nodes and validators when you're running them on your own. Also, very excited to see Synergy, Alex from Hedron. He wrote a tweet, I believe, talking about maybe making a device, like a node that you can just plug in, you set it up like a router, do a couple configuration, and now you can further decentralize PulseChain just by having like a validator in a box type of thing, or a node in a box type of thing. Fantastic. Very, very fun and exciting. So if you were sad about PulseChain and why it hasn't launched yet, and all of this, look at all the stuff we had to fork. It's not just copy and paste Ethereum. We've had to fork and write new code to make a lot of amazing stuff work. And it's very technical. That's why when devs are doing dev stuff, they're doing dev stuff. So just want to go through a little bit of that. Again, the GoPulse, the Prism, Lighthouse, and go back to the suite, and Aragon. What do they mean? Block Explorer, or Beacon Explorer, the Pulse ramp and bridging. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of the highlights of this tweet, of the screenshot, and what the next testnet v3 is going to look like. So very excited about that. Now that I've got through that, I will, give me just a sec. And ask your questions, because I will start reading questions and we'll turn this back into an AMA. Thank everyone for joining. Hopefully this will be a useful stream. I think it was fun. It was fun for me to learn, do the research, figure this stuff out. Any corrections, any misnomers, anything I got wrong or you don't quite understand, just ask me, and I'll try to get you a good answer on it. T-Rex, hopefully I'll see you on Saturday, man. Should be good. It's really good information. Those who can break down the tweet, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you showing up and listening, because that's, I think, at a very basic level, that's what the tweet means and what the screenshot means, and the information that you want to know is there. And I tried to just expound on that and go through and drop some links in. Any of the links, if you're curious, I got a few different websites up that I went through to do this. So if you want me to paste any of the links, just let me know. I pasted a couple, but I can do more. 100,000 hex, you rich. I don't think it's that much. I don't know about rich. Let's see. Nomics hex. I love Nomics for simple stuff, because you can just do this. Were you talking about when hex is $1? Then that may be a lot more. 1 million hex, however, still getting there. 10 million hex. 10 million hex is holding some weight. 100 million hex. 1 billion hex. It's like that Drake meme. 100,000 hex. Yeah. 1 billion hex. Yeah. So that'll may be able to own your own time for a while on that one. But that's, I think we're in it for even more than that. I think PulseChain, PulseX, this gave us a chance to, if you didn't buy hex at sub penny, I'm just using that to move decimal places around, then maybe PulseChain is your next opportunity. That's what we like to do. I'm at Chick-fil-A with the kids. I love Chick-fil-A, by the way. Shout out Chick-fil-A. With the kids, I can barely hear the audio. We'll definitely tune in when I go home. Yeah. Feel free to hashtag replay game. Benny Blanco, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. What's up, Blue Bum? Miss you, man. We got a stream coming up in a week or two. What's NFT? Do we want what kind of explorer will be used? Yeah, I think that's the one. The one I was just talking about. What is it called? Just let me bring it back up. Let me bring it back up. Unless you already saw it and I answered your question. But yeah, Beacon Chain. I'll drop it in the chat as well. I should have did that. Yeah, this one seems to be the one. It looks identical to me. It just looks like a PulseChain UI, but everything else, it looks like a fork. So if it's not this, I don't know what it would be. And the GitHub is, I'll drop the GitHub in here too. I'm not a PulseChain dev. I just know how to read and click buttons and use my background knowledge to try to guess and speculate. So I'm as in the loop from Richard Hart as everyone in this chat probably, unless one of the PulseChain devs are watching. If you are, feel free to not identify yourself, but give me any corrections or any extra knowledge that would be useful as well. Yeah, awesome, man. Crystals. I don't know. Is that like, I don't know what crystals are. There's a lot of different ways you could take that one, but hopefully, are we getting, first thing that came to mind was like a crystal, like a ward, like you haven't fudded Hex yet. You haven't, you're still here award, like a crystal trophy or plaque, but I'm sure you'll explain it. Do you predict a Hex pump when V3 is launched? Well, as someone who never gives financial advice, I do not predict anything on the show. However, I like to phrase it as I've certainly seen and heard a lot of people say that Hex may go insane when testnet V3 is launched. And, between that and mainnet launching, because we're kind of in the perfect scenario, right? Like it's super low. Maybe it's oversold. Maybe it's bottom, whatever it is. And there's different ways to go with this. I mean, how many people in retail have dry powder? How many institutions know about Hex? It's hard to say, but yeah, and it's all the money that's been sacrificed already. However, if you have been working and you've been saving money and you didn't quit your job last bear market or last bull market or during this bear market, then you may have dry powder and you may be looking for picking up the opposite of picking up pennies in front of a freight train when the mainnet launches, if you see good deals happening and ratio trading, all that stuff. Hard to say, man. Hard to say, but I wouldn't expect it to do nothing. I'll say that. And we've already had a lot of bad happen. Maybe we're due for some good. I certainly hope so. Oh, those type of crystals. Yes. Yes. I mean, you can give them to people who are still here if you want. You can't not do that. So you can give them to everyone too. Be good to see you again, man. Yeah, excited to see your crystals as well. That's right. I remember you talking about that now. Everyone, I'm going to end the stream pretty soon unless people are asking questions. So if you're asking questions, I got 47 people here. And that's all I really had to talk about. So if you want, you better get the questions in. I covered addressing the RH FUD and I covered the PulseChain testnet update. Trying to see what else. Yeah, in the simplest way I could. So yes, it does. Yeah. I mean, if you look at this one, you can play with it right now. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's nice. It's not PulseChain Block Explorer style. We like the dark. We like the PulseChain logos and all that. We like a network our new #1 network, but it's nice. It's got good stuff on it. When? Yeah. Definitely, we're definitely one day closer. I know that. Definitely one day closer to PulseChain launch. That I can tell you for sure. That is a fact. But Richard tweeting 2 updates. So Richard live streaming at the Hex conference for 4.5 hours. And then in the last few days, giving 2 updates on testnet. After, didn't one of the devs, PulseChain devs on Twitter, say that it was close, and then Richard said it was close. So we have 2 people close to development on PulseChain saying it's close. Now, what is close? What does that mean? Hard to say. Does it mean 4 more weeks? Does it mean, DCC was saying Valentine's Day? I would certainly love to be PulseChain's Valentine. I think my wife would be okay with that. I think so. It's an inanimate object here, PulseChain. Testnet Valentine. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Hard to say. I mean, that would be 4 weeks would be around Valentine's Day, wouldn't it? So what does close mean? It means that these screenshots are coming out and people are getting excited, and hopefully it won't be a letdown. Although it's kind of pulling me back and forth. I don't want to have expectations and I don't want to get hyped up for it, but is that the denial part? Is that am I just in denial that something good is going to happen? I've already pushed myself away. Don't every time, my way of dealing with when PulseChain is coming out is I'll just push it so far out that I'll never be close enough to think about it. So in October, November, I was like, yeah, January, February, March, something like that. And now I'm like, 2024, just so I don't have any anxiety, because I would only have anxiety if I had these expectations it was going to launch soon. And I would be counting down the days. And then when it didn't happen, if it didn't happen, then I'll be disappointed. So I don't let myself do that. I don't put the expectations. So everyone being so, excited and thinking about it and talking about it, I would rather err on the side of 2024 for mainnet, of course. Hopefully testnet's not 2024. That would be a little interesting. But I keep pushing it out so I don't have anxiety. So it's just a mental trick you can do if you wish. That's what's worked for me, at least. So I don't want to get excited about it because I don't want to be disappointed. I get excited when I hear Richard tweet testnet in 2 weeks. When I see that, and I think I'll take him at his word on that one, or at least 51% of his word. Can't find a Burberry bonnet anywhere. I know. Well, there's a museum opening maybe next year called the Richard Hart Museum, and hopefully he'll have some bonnets and some airplanes and who knows, all kinds of fun toys in there that you can't buy at any stores. And maybe the celebrities will go there and they'll take pictures. Oh, something. Oh, Richard Hart stuff. Oh, you can't find this Prada store. You can't find this LV. You got to be on some list. You have a black card. You got to have all that stuff. What's your thoughts on UpToken? I saw a video you did. Yeah, I did. Let's see. I had Staked Wealth on the show for maybe the first 100% Uptime episode to talk about UpToken. So it's been a while since I looked at it, but yeah, you can go search for the video or talk to Staked Wealth. I know he's probably the closest I know of people who've talked about it. There's not a lot of information about it, but and then they also you can track the SAC phases at what is it, Pulse? I don't forget the name of the website, PulseX. I don't know, Google for PulseChain sacrifice tracker, and it has all the different PulseChain sacrifice stuff, and you can see all the SAC phases for all the projects, and that one's on there. But yeah, it's been a while since I looked at it. Interesting. But yeah, I don't I think PulseChain is again, I've been pushing PulseChain so far out in my mind that I haven't even thought about the tokens or what I'm going to do with them. And it's been a while since I've even thought or talked about them. So even liquid loans and just all the projects that on PulseChain, I can't even remember half the stats anymore because it's not fresh in my mind, because we're all waiting for the for the Big Daddy launch. So once it launches, I'm sure I'll have a bunch of projects that I think are useful in the RH ecosystem, probably on the show or talk about otherwise. But I don't have a lot of stuff to talk about the projects right now. With the coming testnet being V3, actually V1, V1 of the POS network. Any change with the AMM bot coming? I don't know. I think there's still like this gap in getting liquidity from 0x, which is interesting. So maybe they'll just be, I wonder like how, I'm sure there's this scenario that's win-win on that. If it's not able to scrape liquidity from all the different pools everywhere, then I don't know. I'm sure there's a plan to deal with all these little edge cases. But I don't know. Like I haven't thought about any changes within it in particular. Its job is to go buy up all the coins and to make sure all the numbers are right and all the the coin values. Nobody's able to cheat and become a whale because they got there early. All that stuff. So I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Pulse is close or V3 is close? When V4? I don't know. So let me reframe this as, well, first I'll say V3 is close, is what we've been hearing. But you could also say, will there be a V4? I don't, I mean, because there was 2 testnet versions, right? Or 2 or 3. We were on testnet V2B. I think maybe A was private. It's been a long time. I can't quite remember. So will there be a second testnet? I know the community, what the community feels about that. They would not want that unless it was the quick V4 and then go. Like Richard talked about. The V3 was supposed to be like a quick V3, or the one before mainnet was supposed to be a quick one. Get all the bugs lined out, last second type stuff, like a week, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever it was. So will there be a V4? Maybe, but if it is, hopefully it'll be a quick one, like the original plan seemed to be. Yeah, stepped it up on the questions. You get me for a few more minutes, as long as y'all got some questions. RH answered my Uniswap feature V3. Which one does he prefer? Will V3 be available at PLS launch? Equate the pairs. Yeah, he did answer at the PulseChain conference, and maybe that was your question. Good question if that was yours too. He said he likes V2 for pumpamentals. That's what he cited essentially. So I don't know. I hope he does whatever is good for Mad Gains. And there's a lot of factors that depend on that. If we launch mainnet before V3 is out, if it's ready to go, then V2 makes sense for no other reason than launch, quicker. If you want launch quicker, then you don't wait for V3. I don't think he would wait for V3 anyways for that. And maybe he's talking himself into it. Maybe it's a thing where he's like, okay, he wants to launch sooner. Maybe he wants to launch this year. And he knows that if he has to wait until May or June or whenever to start really testing and using V3, that's going to delay everything even further. He doesn't want that. So just, trying to speculate, imagine what he's thinking. But overall, from what he's saying, from what I heard him say and interpreted, if I interpreted correctly, he thinks V2 is better, could be better for price at pairs. And, I've talked to Sam Stolt. He's explained a lot of the reasons that V3 is great for liquidity providing and otherwise. But this ecosystem is about price performance, technology and price performance. And if there's more Mad Gains in V2, I hope he does whatever he believes is best for the reason we're all here and so excited about the product. Any other questions, anyone? Otherwise, I will call it a night. I hope this information was helpful. And I certainly learned a few things today, and I'm glad I was motivated to get into it because of Richard's tweet. And yeah, hopefully y'all can put this to work or put some issues that were in your brain to sleep and not to worry about it as much anymore, if that helps you. Or maybe you want to run your own node. Maybe you want to become a validator. Lots and lots of options coming up whenever we launch. So I think I'll call it a night. Everyone, let's see, tomorrow I have a stream with Crypty Girl. So come by if you want to check that out. I think around 4:00 p.m., 7:00 Eastern tomorrow. Should be a good interview. Talk about the document. She's one of the girls that was in the documentary and is a huge hexagon for a long time. So it'd be good to talk to her. And without further ado, you all have a very good night, and I will see you later. Scivive and 5555, everyone.